නෑ දානුවේ. Light is
zoom කරලා තිබ්බනම් මේ level වලට වගේ.
yeah, but the curtain that's why lighting is with the translate. Height rooms are acoustic shape ne? That's right. Can I on hand make camera on name
නෑ.
group එක දාන්න. Group zoom එක දාන්න. Individual zoom නෙවෙයි. Careful. This careful.
Yeah.
For some of the camera. Link එක working ද? Huh?
ඒ පස්සෙන් ඩිලේ වෙනවද නෑනේ පොඩ්ඩක් ඩිලේ වෙනවද නෑ ඩිලේ ඒකයි දේශනේ
audio connect audio mute audio.
Things are working well.
Things are working well. I think तुमसे तूने तुमसे देखे तुमसे तूने नहीं मैं हाँ तो इंटर मंगल वाले भी जाएंगे तो 303 audio connect
Hello. Shamil unmute කරන්න. Shamil
මාව එක්ක පස්සමාව එනවාද මාව
well lighting ගිහලා කතා සාකච්ඡා කරන්න.
එනවාද එනවානේ හම්බිලා ඔව් එනවා අතේ පොඩ්ඩක්
मैं ओके साथ दे रही हूँ ठीक है और रिकॉर्डिंग अपना आगे करा ना रुक ओके हाँ शामिल है
उसे क्या नोट है ना
क्या ना अरे कोई शामिल है तो
माँ थोड़ा पेन इन
शामिल है ना उधर
ओ है ना सर हाँ तो हाँ पेन है ना हेलो
है ना उधर तो की बात शामिल वाला लाइटिंग आपसे हाँ अरे मैं सिस्टम में लेकर ब्राइटनेस आलू करा अपना ले एक्सपोजर है कितना दान सिस्टम में एक्सपोजर आलू करा अपना ले
अमिल ओ ब्लूटूथ है क्या ओ ब्लूटूथ अरे वंग इंडिकेटर अरे अरे
parane neke mute button එක කරන්න ඕනේ පැය කරන්න mute button එක කරන්න ඕනේ bluetooth එකේ
එපා මේ කරන්න ඕනද mute එක mute නෑ mute කරන්න එපා ඔකේ ආලා හරි මම බල්ලාගෙන අර්ධයකට හරි මේක මෙයා ආලා ओके बैठे वाला रहने का क्या है इधर वाला ये बड़ा मारो वाला बड़ा मारो यहाँ पे आई प्रेयर बट अब बड़ा है बढ़ने को बड़ा
एक तो बोलाते हैं
अब रीसेट
बोलाते हैं
ऐसा प्यार ने अनिक देख रहा हमारी में ये रिमोट तो नहीं कलांगा दिख पे में मुझे के
नहीं मो आदमी रिमोट है वाला था
ओ मागे रिमोट है एक कैमरा के अंदर है लाइट
कर्टन ऐड कितना होता है फाइन ना पता नहीं कितना अरे सेटिंग से लेकिन एक्सपोजर आलू करा अपना ने अरे पॉलीकॉम सेटिंग से लेकिन एक्सपोजर आलू करा अपना दान ने एडिट
और ये वाइट बैलेंस है
तो वाइट बैलेंस से पता मेरा कराने
मैं कारगर पे आकर आगे रिमोट ले रहा हूँ आलू लेने की
ये का zoom this is not zoom आपको how many meters zoom I think maximum is
zoom maximum for the normal depends on the account normal account professional account is for 100
our school it has about 500 I think on that
yeah you are the Depends on the account. Okay. You can get versions.
Can we reduce the delay with YouTube? Have you put the manual delay or is it the
Kita. Kita ko.
Okay.
YouTube loves you on delay like a couple of seconds?
Kita delay කාට කරන්න බැරි YouTube එකේ.
ඒක දුලිත මේ YouTube සර්වර්ස් වලට ගිහලා නෙන්නේ. ඕක දැන් අපි මෙතන ඉඳන් බලන ඉඳන් තමයි ඩිලේ කියලා තේරෙන්නේ. ඔක YouTube tab එක අතේ තියෙන එක්කෙනා මෙතන නෙන්නේ. යාට ඩිලේ එක එන්නේ නැහැ. තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ලයිව් බලන හින්දානේ අපිට ඩිලේ එක පේන්නේ.
Okay.
delay එක දාන්න පුළුවන් delay එකක් ඒක දාලා නැහැනේ.
නෑ. ආයෙත්
තප්පර ගානක් වැඩිපුර
මොකද ඇඩ්වාන්ස් කරලා නැහැ. ඒක කරලා නැහැ කියලා ඉන්න ලයිව් ෆීඩ් එක.
I wonder man abang
The extra person, shall you want to give him a normal link or this thing?
the
ICTA person. CTA.
he's also
joining.
I think
YouTube link or a normal link? Normal Zoom link.
I think we'll have to get to a YouTube link.
Shall we give that cyber guy also a link? You spoke to him.
I didn't speak to him in the morning, no.
Why don't you just
I just give him he had given me a missed call like
I'll call him.
okay.
You can send him the link.
We'll probably set no it is to happen to this one. So yeah.
Polycom box එක තියලා උද්දේ පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න.
Macha, at 2 o'clock, we are at 2 o'clock. Are you free? Go. Man, where the phone is?
Yo, can I this service now? You know the
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Nice. We also got your like. They've already set up everything.
No, the morning that
Oh, you missed it. Yeah. No, it was just we just had a quick run through what the plan is going to be like.
So who do you know?
So for now, all of the quota IT office.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So.
You're the only one who understands it.
And
Right.
Namik will be the prison slash. Then council is the senator and my man. I Matata Hambuna get it from you think
So you look at the YouTube link.
So you all have heard about what happened with that Nishan?
no what happened so Mr. Rodrigo got to court for some other matter we seen visitor so apparently he and Nishan something to jail because this entire case is going to be I'm sorry no reaction or anything please YouTube
I don't know what camera කරුවේ.
He immediately called me.
නෑ ඔක පල්ලෙන් අතන ලෝක කෙනෙක් ඉන්නේ.
මෙයා බොඩි
අතන ලෝක කෙනෙක් ඉන්නේ.
I think now Frank's now.
It's not Frank, even Justice Martin. Yeah, this is long.
Yeah, path and
You also take control of all this. Various people are doing various things. If you are supposed to be handling this for the ministry, you are going to take control of all this.
Yeah, it's better than us.
Yes. I said, we can't. I think they have.
Because they were buy their own flower.
Yeah.
On their own cloth.
I don't know.
I don't know. Buddhika might be something else. He might have shared the posters of us.
All Navin's fault.
Nishanandan have got called up by
control of the situation.
Nishanandan have got called up by Frank for that post. This is again
custody of these people.
This is what I'm hearing now.
There's another picture yesterday of some junior bar thing being advertised. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
look like there are people are originated.
Yeah.
This is very nice.
කෙලවුණාට පස්සේ අපිට කියන්නේ ආම්ස මාරනේ පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න අක්කොලිට I didn't see.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
One year, even though they will be buggered, their body is also making submissions for it.
We'll have a
Now, who and how is it going to be? Where are the two counts are going to be? In
So
between?
one of the counts are going to be in 302.
Right.
That is ready.
Right.
3s and then I think 303 again. I think off करे.
Take a device. Remote
All right. So 303 का है. I don't know where the prisoner is.
Yeah. Now, can it link when on a coin? තුනකට දාලා තියෙන්නේ. එයාට මේ ෆෝන් එකෙන් ලින්ක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් නේ මේ ලින්ක් එක හරියට. බලන්න විතරයි කිව්වා. ඒ කියන්නේ එයාට කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. කතා කරන් බලන්න විතරයි. එයාව අපිට පේන්න ඕනේ හැබැයි.
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ස්ක්‍රීන් එකේ ඉන්න තුන් දෙනාට යාව පේන්න ඕනේ.
ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් පාර්ටිෂන් තුන් දෙනායිනේ. තව එකක් ඇඩ් කරන්න ඕනේ. ලින්ක් එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඔව් ඇඩ් එක through. ඇඩ් එක through.
room ඇති නේ room එකේ. ඒ room එකේ වැඩි වෙන්නේ එතකොට වැඩි දැන් තුනක වෙනවා. මෙතන ලින්ක් තෝරන්නේ. එතකොට ඩැෂ්බෝඩ් එකේ දාන්නේ ඔයා එතන නම් ගන්න ඕනේ නේ. ඩැෂ්බෝඩ් එකේ ඔව් අපි ෆෝන් කැමරා දෙකක් ගෙනවා. අපිට මෙතන එකයි කරන්න පුළුවන්. Impressive system.
මෙහෙට එනවා. ඔය වෙන තැනක ඉඳන් තමයි මේ ජොයින් වෙන්නේ දුර මීටින් එකට.
මේ ඒරියා එකෙන්.
ඔව්.
කොට කොහමද එයා කතා කරන්නේ මොකුත් නැහැ. එයාගේ විෂුවලි විතරයි බලන්න ඕනේ. Hello. No, I'm in 301.
You haven't let him in, madam.
Yeah.
So you all are supporting, you all are going to be doing part of council.
I don't know what are we going to say.
If you want, we can use that, what is it called? Macro hard or whatever.
No, they wanted to put it to be.
That,
I don't know. What about criminal law? It's supposed to be a criminal appeal.
yeah. Under, yeah. I've sat in one criminal case in my entire life.
I did long time ago, but I can't remember now. I don't want to remember also. Not relevant to what I think. What are these tabs going to be?
I think these are for the judges. They're still here. So
That's what I want there.
set up.
Yeah, it is. Now the judges, so you and I will sit here with their permission, just to test it out, right?
Yeah.
Senaka will be in 302. You put Kaushal and 303.
What are we going to say? I don't know more about criminal law.
No, we'll just have a chat. No, we have no acting. No, we will just simply say we are just testing the process out.
But we will.
Yeah, no, we will talk about the logistics of it, how it will happen, how it will work. Now we have outside, they'll give a link somewhere here.
Yeah, so I anyway brought laptop, so now
Yeah, put him on the.
Yeah. Is he on the way? I'll give it.
No, he didn't say this.
Oh, okay.
I will, when Tanuja will go online, he say I'm going to be the co-registrar. And we are going to demonstrate the process. We will demonstrate a typical hearing of an appeal where there are two judges sitting on either part and two counsel on either side and the litigant appearing there. It is broadcast to the public and all the other honorable judges will link in through a non-interactive link.
Yeah.
Right? Then you will say we will, as per the parameters which can be amended, we will start 15 minutes before the hearing. We will shorten it for today's purposes, where the court registrar will originate the meeting, start it, and invite the two counsel and the litigant, and inform them that this is a formal hearing, that they can't record it, and who ask who else is there, clarify those things, and then
Second, you can say that please ensure participation not only the individual.
They
can clearly hear.
Clearly hear. How to commence? First thing I would like to know, are you alone? Is your plan present? Who else is? And please inform.
yes, so you do that.
Yeah.
They, now, once that is done, the meeting will go on, and you will say,
I will be held against you and your client.
and your client, you will be charged with the offense of contempt of court and for violation of the rules. Then you say
Then you can
now,
also say that you should not record. You should not.
then you say, can now the judges will, honorable judges are going to come. Then we will come and then that scene will go on. We'll off it and on the video in that. Then I will give an introduction saying this, we are just simulating it, where this is what the ministry is doing, this is the technology that is being done. Then Rohit, what are you going to talk about? The four of us, the four people have to interact. No.
So what this
We do a small mother.
No, he basically wants it short.
Yeah, so he wants it short. So that's what I said. Can't we discuss about the issue about how we are going to deal with
No,
the
now
matter?
if I start, you finish, then you put it to us and then say, thank you, my lords. I will say, for the rules, I have submitted my summary.
Yes.
I am now taking you to page such and such in the brief. I emphasize that your lords consider the same. These are the authorities as per my summary, as per the rule. I emphasize that these pages be considered. And I have. And then,
Keep it less, we'll keep it very informal. So now the setup is two people with here, just to give a feel. I don't want to make it play acting. What we will do is we will say that this is a demonstration of the technology,
Right.
where a typical criminal appeal, where there are two judges, two lawyers on either side, and a litigant who's appearing in person who's not saying anything, but he can see what's going on.
Right.
So how we have set it up, sir, is we have this room is for the judges and the court IT person.
So this room is for the two judges who will be seated here.
Who will be seated here.
Right.
And this is now, even when it goes online for real, this is the equipment that will be used.
Right. So they'll be there. Sorry. Okay.
Then the two lawyers we set up in 303 and 302. So they'll be, as if they're coming from home, they will
Two different
things.
Right.
Then
Okay.
we will get the litigant also a remote thing, somebody from somewhere here, he'll come on a laptop or something.
Okay.
Then the judges will be given a link.
Right. For
Where
them to watch this.
for them to watch, they'll play the role of the public. Because if it's a hearing that is going to be public,
Right.
so they can't interact,
Right.
but they can view the proceedings.
Right. Okay.
Then we will take 10-15 minutes just to explain this thing. We won't
Okay.
play act, but we'll
Right.
say this is the technology, this is what can be used, and each of us will speak and we'll discuss whatever issues. Then if you have a WhatsApp group or something with them,
Yes.
if they have any questions,
To keep sending out
to
messages.
say then the messages, and then we can discuss the questions and what can happen, what has gone wrong and all that.
Right. So if now when you send the link, Naveen, on their screen, if this is their laptop
They'll see
screen,
this.
they will see all three.
They will see, or there will be
they'll see
actually 5, in fact, not only 3.
Right. Okay.
So they'll see the two judges, the two lawyers, and the litigant.
I think best that we share that link, right? Because then they may also want certain amount of time.
Yeah, we need to share the
Yeah,
link.
we need to share the link.
Yeah. That is literally what said 2 hours before.
Right. Where is Dulith? Dulith, where are you?
හරි. ඊළඟ muted himself. ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ. මේ එක මං එක
Just go to 3 again, Dulith.
අම්මගේ වැඩි ඉවරද? කොහෙද යන්නේ?
Sir, will the judges be seated here?
Judges, can you just check whether it can be seen?
The judges can be seen.
ඔය ඉවර කරන්නේ
I will have to stand.
අම්මගේ වැඩි කියලා අහන්න.
Aren't you logging in? I'll tell you how.
Should I log in separately?
You log in on the network that the prisoner is going to come in.
Okay.
Right? Then once that is done, you can disappear off.
Yeah.
You log in on that and this thing. Then you take a video and then you bring the prisoner on live.
Okay.
And you can talk from that mouth being off screen. So will there be issue with us being seated here? That is
I just asked Justice Fernando whether we can close the cover the emblem.
yes. Then better. I know someone. I know the formula. So that's why. Yes.
මගේ it went to my mind. I'm telling him.
Because I know how we are trying to do everyone.
Don't even sit there.
That's the thing. That's why I tried hard to get more judges to sit there.
Justice not to. No. Unless we push this back a little bit. Is it too late for them to push it back? Push this back and then for the two.
මේ ලෝගෝ එක කැපෙන විදියට කැමරා ගහරවන්න පුළුවන්.
එතකොට බෝඩ් රූම් එකක් වගේ?
Yeah. No, no, ඒක
අන්න හරි.
that's right.
දැන් කොහේ ඉන්නවද කියලා දන්නේ. හැම එකේම මේ ලෝගෝ රාජ
පල්ලෙහාට කරන්න හරි.
දැන් කොහේ ඉන්නවද කියලා දන්නේ.
That way we can rest assured that it will be.
දෙන්නාම පේනවා ස්ක්‍රීන් එකේ. පොඩ්ඩක් zoom එක අඩු කරන්න. දෙන්නයි. තුන් දෙනෙක් නෑ. මැදට ඒ ඡායක අයින් කරන්න හරි. Now right? Yes.
That way you don't have to.
Yeah, I can understand also. Yeah.
Then sir, one other question.
Yeah.
Now, we are having mainly like interactive thing where we discuss the issues.
Right.
The question of bowing.
Yes.
How are we going to? Shall we see whether that works in practice?
Yeah, that's also good.
We will get them to bow. We'll say we'll get the court IT person.
So now, this is the code.
This is the code.
So this is what we are seeing here.
See what we're seeing.
Then in other codes,
This and that.
so they'll be standing there. Is it?
They'll be seated there. They'll be
Okay.
seated there.
Right.
So another issue we have decided whether people have to stand. But if you're doing this on a laptop or something, you can't stand.
Yeah, right.
So when the judges come,
Right.
we would say that we'll get them to stand and bow.
Bow and then sit.
Then
and
sit.
Right. Yeah. Correct.
So that I think that's the.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss all of those. We'll keep it about 10-15 minutes. We'll raise all the issues.
Right.
Then because then the
The
rules.
other two codes, I'm wondering whether it might be useful to turn the camera the other way so that when somebody sees it, they know, okay, so this is where this is actually addressing from the bar table.
where it's the bar table.
Right. Shall we go there?
ඒක පුළුවන් මම නේ පොඩි දෙයක් නේද?
Meaning, right. Okay.
We'll just go and
If the marshal comes, you know the marshal know. Say that I asked whether there's a possibility of covering this. But if it won't come on the screen now, then the problem will not arise, no? Anyhow, just ask him whether it's possible to just cover it. No need to cover. Then I'll tell you.
This is zoom and crop.
Yeah, the problem is this. We have no problem, but supposing someone makes
Zoom and capture.
yeah, as long as that is not captured in the record, then the enlarge also they can't see it. No.
They will send the link.
Right?
Again, there ini kamera. Iya. Udah balon. Are itu ada nih. Ini ada ini. Do not කොහොම එන්න ඕනේ? කොහොම එන්න ඕනේ? හරි හරි. එතන zoom කරන්න. මේක පේන්න තියෙන්නේ. මේ මුකුත් පේන්න තියෙන zoom. ඔව් මොන කොට එකනේ. This can go off, this can go off. Yeah. So as long as remote detect කර. ඒ ගානකට
නෑ කිත් remote detect කරලා.
manually
පුළුවන් නේ සිස්ටම් එකේ.
අන්න ඒක.
software එක කරන්න
yeah. කැමරා එක ලං කරලා.
කැමරා එක ලං කරුවා
ඒක laptop
ගහගන්න. right.
I think
It's
Yeah, you just I sent you email yesterday.
Yeah, I'll send that.
Yeah, so reply all.
code view.
Right.
So no logos, nothing.
Right,
It
very
can be
good.
anywhere. This this is fine. How about lang කරන්න ඕනේ? මේක නැති.
easier to එක මොකද?
easy to එක ගියා.
ST එක සෙට්
So we have to remove this. Yeah, that's fine. No, they will come. Yes, sorry. Now, 1 10 I in 301. Where that is. You and Senaka will link in as council. You be in this room and Senaka will be in the next one. Then Tanuja is the port IT person. He'll start.
Council stands, she will be visible.
Look at the tall basketball player talking. No? Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal is talking. We will have a chat. Like say I will say, Ruanta will say, just whatever idea. Say even we'll be completely relaxed. Like we are having a meeting, we'll discuss the issues in the technology. We'll explain the screen is there, camera, law if you come on this thing. So when you feel like chipping in, let's talk. We will test the audio of different people also. Then we can say sound. I will say, for example, if you want to mute a person, if a lawyer is being too boisterous or something, the mute option is there to show how it can be done. Right? Then
we can't unmute us.
Then we can mute.
So that's
I can again mute.
Because even if you mute us, we can unmute ourselves.
yeah. So
But we can, let's not draw attention
yeah.
here.
So that's so now you can't say that it's a courtroom. No.
Then
Yeah, no, it's okay. Shall we remove the fan also just to make sure that no one knows where it is? यहाँ पे ऐसे के फैन है कहीं करो ने Dulith, what are the virtual background?
your one, this one, nobody can see.
For the check
This is fine. Araka tamai here.
Last year.
No, we will tilt the angle like our one.
How many were next? मैं आगे कंप्यूटर का नेविन बात कराने आया ना कावन
So that one also taught me enhance it so that it looks like our one.
yeah that's what you're going to let's go to the other code Dulith somebody tell me the difference
virtual background එක ගන්නකො මොකක් හරි white plain background එක
ඔව් වීඩියෝ එක ගත්තාද
නෑ क्या पता नहीं
නෑ මම පොලිස් එකෙන් දාලා
it's working
What they have
what what is working
ඩොන්ට් දාන්න පුළුවන්
Oh, why is this going some other background where people
There will be the waiting room until one time
white background එක ගන්න
correct, but as in here now I don't have control.
the plain background අර control එක
So you can't use this.
No, I can't do anything. But technically, if I was I can do what I can.
It's going to be something. No, okay, that's a different story. So what I was saying was this is going to be similar to the situation where the juniors and all the IT stuff and your extra roles.
How?
Yeah, fine. Camera सब off on.
That's okay. I'm going to see on camera. That's for some blind case that slide inside there. The Hughes was happened to be a family friend.
අපි ආස්කල් ආසක් නේ ඉෂු කොලාපොත් නේ
justice. I know he.
වයිට් එක ෂර්ට් එක වයිට් නිසා ප්‍රශ්න දෙන්නේ. වයිට් ස්ක්‍රීන් එකට දාන්න. ආක්කේ දානවා. ඒක වයිට් එක නේද?
Next in line. That's why.
Court will be black.
Yes. Court. You come up. You come up. Can you දාන්න? Full screen.
Completely animated.
It's basically this room because of the light. The light.
අරක පේන්නේ නැහැ නේද? අපි මේ පේන්නේ නැහැ කොහොමද?
කොහොමද rules වල තියෙන clear නේ plain background එකක් කියලා. So
We honestly look like someone has copied and pasted.
One of those bad Photoshop.
I like to wait in this room.
Yeah.
You can hear everything what I say by the way.
We thought we leaving for the break.
This is okay. Yeah, this is okay.
Email was sent.
You want send now?
It's all the same.
This background is also no, we'll leave
It
it
was
like
copied
this.
to, it was CC to all the judges.
Right. So I'll send
Reply
the,
to your
If
email.
you use another background, so it's not that clear.
Yeah.
It's a bit
so I'll say the link has not been shared.
Then we need one more person, no? Shall we get that also online, also meeting? Please, you got the deal.
I have one. Setting up your
301.
we'll all meet.
Yeah.
Again, I'm meeting on mine.
Yeah, so let's go to 303 and meet 11. 301.
It's very warm.
It's, yeah, we'll do it here.
I just read it.
Yours is your turn.
No, I hear that. That's at home.
It's on live.
හරිනේ. අර white එක නිසා තමයි මේ වෙන්නේ. ඒක නිසා කට් වෙනවා. මුගලන්නේ කිව්වම.
Background දාන්න එපා වසු. අස්ස. එහෙනම්
ඔයාලා ගියා.
background දාන්න එපා ගෝ.
Then we go to yeah, we set up everything up.
මේකේ අර background එක virtual background එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන් කිව්වා නේද? ඒක වෙන පාටක් ගන්නවනේ. ඔව්. හරි.
දාලා පෙන්නන්න සර්.
ඔය දැන් ඒක දාලා තියන්න. ඒක හරිනේ. සුදු පාට දැම්මම හරි නේද?
කලයකට දානවා නැත්නම් නිවිලි කියන්නේ.
සුදු පාට දාන්න. දැන් දුමුරුන් තියෙන්නේ
හරි.
කලකට දාන්න සුදු පාට.
අසල් පොඩ්ඩක් ගිහිල්ලා බාන්නේ අර නිකන් කාටුන් වගේ ඉමේජ් එකක් එන්නන්නේ අර මෙතන ලයිට් මැදින් ඉඳලා.
ඔව්. දැන් දාලා බලමු.
Blackout for the power.
ගිහින් ඒ තුනටම වයිට් යමන හරික කරගෙන. හරි.
ටිකක් හොඳයි කේස් ටිකක් සුදු පාට නම් යන්න ගියොත් වයිට් එක අප්සෙට් කරනවා. නෑ පාටත් එක්ක සුදු ෂර්ට් එකත් එක්ක එකයි.
බ්ලේසර් ගන්න තියෙනවා. මානේ නෙමෙයි.
සුදු පාට එකට උඩින් බ්ලේසර් එක දාන්නේ.
අපේ එකක් නෙවෙයි ඒකයි.
බ්ලේසර් එක එන්නේ එතකොට නම් හරියයි නේ.
අපේ එකක් නෙවෙයි ඒකයි.
පුදුසාර කොට කරේ.
ඉන්ටර්වයුව ගන්න වෙලා යනවා.
පේන්නේ නැහැ.
ඉස්සෙල්ලා අරගෙන දාන්න එපා කියලා.
වයිට් එක දාන්න. නෝස්ටල්ලා තියෙන මොනිටර් ටග්ගා දාගන්න තියෙනවා.
උඩටම දාන්න කිව්වා. අනේ.
දැන් අපිට එපා කිව්වා. මම කොහේ ඒක දැම්මම කාටුන් එකක් වගේ වෙනවා.
පාටේ ආලා ඉස්සෙල්ලා මතාවද?
ඒක දාන්න එපා කියලා. මේ නෝස්ටල්ලා තියෙන මොනිටර් දාන්න නැත්නම් ඕකට යන්න බං. අවුල.
කීප දැන්නවද?
ගෝරේ. ඔතන නේ ඉඳක. ඒකට සුදු එක පේනවා. ඕකන්න ටික ෂේප් එක ඔළුව යනවා ඇඟ යනවා වැඩේ අවුල්. ඒ අර දැන් අසයි. දෙන්නේ නෑ බං ගොහ භූතේ. දෙන්නේ නෑ. බඩ ගිට. බඩ.
පොල් මං වගේ.
ඒ විදිහට කතා කරන්නේ නෑ මම.
ඔය ළඟ ගත්ත එක නෑ මෙතන මේ ආයෙ ගත්ත එක පොඩ්ඩක් තියෙනවා.
ඒ මචං බ්ලූ වගේ බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකක් දාපන් බලන්න. අයින් මාදී ඒක එලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක හරියට කලර් එක අයින් වෙනවා.
ඒ තද වැඩි නේ ඇස් දෙකට. බ්ලූ වගේ දාපන්.
නෑ ඕක එකක් දැම්මට වෙයි ගන්න නෑ. ඔරිජිනල් එක නික ඔකට ඔනේ හදලා
zoom virtual background කියලා ගහපන් මචං ඒක උන් පෙන්නනවා මචං හොඳේ.
මේක දැම්මම තමයි නරයිසින්
ඒ බලන්න මේ හොඳ එකක් කියනවා තියන්නේ කියලා. ඉන්නේ.
ඊළඟට මේකට දැම්මට පස්සේ මේ ඉවරයි.
Kasih anu. Udah dong Anda.
නෑ මේ බාහිරත් එක්ක පොඩ්ඩක්
ඒක නෑ ඉන්න ඉස්සරහ යනවා.
Dua karena supir ini. Dua karena supir ini mana? Ada kusum? Awal nih.
මන් ගන්න නෑ ඉතින් කොහොමද
මොන හරි ගානවා.
මන්න හිතන්නේ බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක නැතුව තිබ්බොත් හොඳයි වගේ. නම් හරිනේ.
ඔය මම වගේ කියන්නේ.
නැත්තම් මේ බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකක් උනන් ගාලා දෙන්නම් කියන්න ෆ්ලෙක්ස් එකේ.
ෆ්ලෙක්ස් එකක් දාන්න. ලයිට් එකක් ගාලා ගහන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට කී වෙනවද?
නෑ ඕන ෆ්ලෙක්ස් එකක් දාලා ගහමු ලස්සන බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකක්. මේක තමයි හොඳ මේක. මම ඒක අයිඩියා එක දාන්න.
බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක ඕනේ අදට විතරයි මේ වෙන තැනක ඉඳන් කරනවා වගේ එන ෆීලින් එක.
ඒගොල්ලෝ එනවද?
ඉතින් තාම රිමෝට් එක වැඩ නැද්ද?
නෑ නෑ ඒක නෙමෙයි. හලෝ.
දැන්
මේ රීසෙට් එකක් ගන්න මේ.
ඔව්.
ආම ගන්නේ. ඒක අවුලක් තියෙන ඩිවයිස් එක. අපේ හම්බෙන්නේ එකක් ප්‍රයාවුනේ කරනවා.
ඒසෙකට දාගන්න ඉතින්.
ඒ රීසෙට් එක ගන්න. ගන්න රීසෙට් එක ගන්න ඕනේ. අපි ඒක ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් කරමු. මේක HP ටික එකක් තියෙනවා. මොකද එලිස් තියෙන තෝරන්නේ. ඒක හරියට කොහොමද?
මගේ යාළුවෙක් කරන්නේ. මේක බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක දාන්න කරන්නේ.
එයාගේ කොහොමද අර දෙපැත්ත බ්ලර් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. එන්නම් පොඩක් දෙකිට යාළුවෙක් ඉන්නේ.
ඒක ටික අපරාධින් මේ දුන්නේ මොකද කරන්නේ?
මොකද බැරි වැසෝ එන්නේ මොකක්ද?
උඹලා දෙන ඔක්කොම
යොස්සන්නේ.
ඉස්සරහට වරයි.
මේ දෝෂේ දෙකකින් හඳුනන්නේ.
නිකන් බැලබල
මේක කරගෙන
දැන් එන්නේ. මගේ
හා
මේ
බෑ
කණගේ.
විතරක් බෑ.
නෑ නෑ. උඹට මේ නාම ගන්න ඕනේ. හරි. ඒක
දෙන්නේ.
මොනවා නම් මුත් ගන්න පුළුවන්.
මේක කරන්න පුළුවන් අන්නේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දෙන්නේ ලූප් කරන්නේ.
දැන් මේව මොකද දාන්න කවම කියලා.
ඒක මම මේ
එළිය දාන්න කවම මොකද?
දොන් හඳුන්
අනුර අන්මියුට් කරන්න. ඉතින් ගහන්න. අද හරි
මියුට් කරලා අන්මියුට් එකේ තියන්න.
ප්‍රොපෝසල් එක ඉවර වෙලා මම පොඩ්ඩක් ෆයිනෑන්ස් එකට පොඩ්ඩක් හදන්න තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කොල්ලෙන් කියලා කියන්නේ.
දැන් ටෙස්ට් රන් එකක් කරනවා.
දෙකට. ඔය කාලේ නාන ඔක කන්නේ කිලෝ කොහොමද?
අදිලා දෙකක්. ඒවා හදිරි ඉවරයි.
ඒ
වෙන්නේ කියන්නේ නෑ. ये आप लोग एक और कला है ना है क्या මොකක්ද බඩු 98 ඩිස්ප්ලේ එක කල්පාරි में टेरे करता है आके प्रोटेक्शन नहीं कर पा रहा है हम बस इसके
पहले ही के 10 माह ये रेट है Touch one.
Right. But then, remember. So I sent you know what Mobitel has sent.
Yeah.
So that's but not bad connectivity.
Yeah, you can repeat it in the other room. I repeat it then. No, guys. Hello, connected.
That works. That way, we have repeaters connected to each both rows. Okay.
We say, yeah, whether we say that's what we
No.
You guys have it?
No. Repeaters.
Okay.
We take the fan also on camera.
Yes.
Fan එක off it will not they will have better connectivity. Not for purpose of hearing on an actual on a normal day-to-day hearing. Even if I want to take my time box and start using a digital connection, then I'll have more better connectivity, much better connectivity.
Yeah.
Because there is edge in this courthouse. Yes, I mean, just start walking.
No, then the dialogue repeat it.
That's what I told them. Individual repeaters of that the courts won't have.
They can hear you quite well, huh?
දැන් link එක ගන්න කොහොමද? තව එක්කෙනෙකුට මම කියන්නේ.
අපි link එක දෙනවා sir.
then you wait here.
Okay, my Wi-Fi card.
No, the thing is, you know, after I'll be
Put a high speed Wi-Fi.
and then I'll also
Yeah.
The one together.
So then
I always be
Officer.
in the beginning.
No.
Explain. I'll just ask the answers if they are here. They are so and they are represented. And if you check the now we can see it. Then I'll give the one. You have to all the ones. Thank you.
no question. So we can't have still failing.
Yeah.
Getting online,
Yeah.
test everything and being online. Yeah. And the light එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ අර ඇඩ් කරන්න. කවුද මාස්ටර් zoom එක කාලෙක තියෙන්නේ. Then you do it from here.
Yeah.
Finish.
I'll take
You take it. And when you with
That's it.
And when tapping it in,
wait.
yeah, join it.
මේක සදස්ස දෙන්නයි. ජෝයිස් දෙන්නයි කියලා කාර්යය ඉන්නේ.
එන application tap එකලා
And you don't want to be
advanced.
No, you need that. Yeah, very good.
download. Sound you need me
So you are not talking. You are can you see? Please raise your hand to let me see if you can hear us. To raise your hand. That's it. That's it. So
මෙතන මේ resume link එක දෙන්න
We'll go for silent කරන්න. And also that will.
laptop එකට දාන්න. මේකනේ හොස්. හරි.
මේකනේ රෙකෝඩ්
මම එතනින් ඉන්න මේ තව ඡායකට දෙන්න අදින්න.
you will be joining us too.
Yeah. So you will be sitting either
No, we will come in.
coming. Okay.
So we will come in only after you are done with your introduction. So we'll sit there and
Then come.
then come once you want the introduction and you say that that is our
Check you can hear each other.
Kaushalya, can you hear us?
Can you?
Tell-
Can you?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes, very loud and clear. The junior is also there. That's good.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Mute your phones, huh?
Yeah, mute the phones.
with the phone. Vibration better.
Yeah, we'll start this another issue. If we need to, in the middle of anything, have a discussion or something, how do we have to have a method of communicating.
Do we have to take out option?
WhatsApp.
Do we have?
WhatsApp group channel?
Even we will say please mute us. So we'll run that. We'll say if the judges want to have a discussion, we'll tell the court IT register to mute it. So now you'll have to mute.
We can use the remote. Mute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, good day.
indicate.
Something up and in now.
Now can you hear us?
Yeah.
Can you tell me how to operate it?
How to do
What functions are
how
there?
to operate.
Yeah.
Then there is no need of whispering.
No, we just mute and talk and say whatever.
So you want to do the mute?
So we are coming side, right?
So either mute
Or switch it off.
or switch off the video.
Right.
So video I'll say like this, mute I'll say like this. Okay.
Okay.
We were supposed to take it off when time comes that morning. What is it?
I'm just level.
So that's the sound bar. So it tracks whatever
Input speakers and mic.
speakers and mic.
Vishwaka, now you can hear us, right?
Yeah.
You know that might be not. Open
Yeah.
It's a laptop screen. They have a laptop. It's with Zoom. It's not the side. They muted us. The learned judges have muted us.
On the judges. Muted themselves.
Muted themselves. Yeah.
Actually, you also have a gadget like this, sir, to mute yourself if you like.
Mine is not working, Senaka, so I have a signal ready for them to do it on my behalf manually then.
So this is all connected to the TV and whatnot by HDMI cable.
Yes. From the laptop.
Laptop HDMI cable to that. And then how is the mic connected onto the TV? Audio.
It's from the USB.
From the US. So also the processor is in the laptop. Exactly.
No, it has a built-in processor for the
Right.
noise cancellation, video tracking. It has also video tracking.
normal laptop එකෙන් තමයි මම දැන් දීලා තියෙන්නේ. මේක අර තියෙන noise cancellation එකම අපිට දැන් මේක laptop එක ඒක පිට කරන්නේ. phone එක වයි table එක උඩ ඒක පිට කරන්නේ.
Only voice.
අපිට ඕල්කක් කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒරියා එක සිලෙක්ට් කරලා එතන එළියෙන් මොකද කරන්න.
Then connect to audio.
Ah, then.
Hello, sir.
Oh, ගන්න දෙයක්. ඒ මායි
Senator, you're doing the prosecution or is it me? In
Yeah,
case it, because
I
one of us is entitled, one of us will be entitled to speak to Nami if necessary.
to do that.
Yeah, okay.
So Senaka,
You can mute us also for now.
හැබැයි ඒකට මොකද නැතුව ඉන්නේ.
Yeah.
Ada?
Yeah. Directly.
kita main keren.
Audio අයින් කරගන්න.
Connect කරන්න.
Okay.
කවන්න දෙයක්.
එයාගම නේ
කතා කරන්න. එයා වයිස් එක ගන්න.
හරි connect කරන්න.
Mute yourself, no?
Connect කරලා තියෙනවා.
And they are watching back to
You should have put Namik behind the wooden grill, no?
Yeah, I know. Or in a kennel. And that looks like a, that has a bit of a prison kind of look. So,
bit of a jail cell, right? No?
I am actually at the corridor.
yeah.
That's outside 502.
No, I think the corridor.
Yeah.
Anuj, what are the questions you want to ask?
I'll be asking only a few questions, sir. After they join in, again, if there's any party, may I know who appears to be present, and then whoever that appears. And then is there anyone there? Other than you? No, this is. Feeling is clear and if you can hear us. Thumbs up.
No, thumbs up.
Thumbs up down.
Please raise your hand. Right? Please raise your hand.
Yeah, if they pay enough attention. No, he just wanted to know if we spoke really softly when everybody else can hear us. They can.
Is there raise hand button? They don't have a raise hand button?
It's there. Raise hand is there.
It's what switched off on computer.
Has it been switched off? Or is it?
It's there.
It's there.
Now you have this, no? Yeah, but they have to tell that they can do it off the remote. You need laptop.
Could someone?
Am I dialing?
Okay.
No. Can you call me back?
Yeah.
That's a bit of an issue.
You need a laptop to the raise.
No. What we'll do is, please raise your hand like this, Kian. Just please raise your hand if you wish to talk. Raise hand as in physically raise your hand.
Raise hand, okay.
On the screen. Please raise your hand on the screen. That's fine.
You need a laptop for that.
Yeah. Make a function button to get the raise hand. I don't know if you can program it. Maybe 1, 2 maybe later. I mean, at some point, maybe one of these can be programmed to be a raise hand button. But depends on what tech they're using. They should be on. So that's what they
It's 1, 2 camera reset. 1, 2 is for camera reset.
Okay. Now the online now. Why don't you get on the screen and we'll see you?
Oh, won't I be using this stream, sir?
Which screen?
This stream itself.
You can do that also.
What
Like the
I
register.
thought was in code. That's
Yeah, that's how it works. So, yeah, fine. That's fine. That's perfect. Yeah.
I'll have to, of course, stand. That's the only case.
Yes. You stand and do it and you sit down. Yeah, that's how it happens in photos anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think, Senanayake?
Well,
Rather than Tanuja to be on the separate screen, what he's saying is like how the steno normally calls the case, he will, my internet is unstable. He will stand and do it like here.
Yeah.
That then we reduce one camera also.
Yeah, Tanuja CEO, you can sit in between Naveen and Ruanta. Get a chair there.
Oh, yeah. No, but once I'm done.
I'm sure you can.
No, he will stand like a normal step here and then he sit on the side.
Once you are done, you just sit in between. It is good for a picture set.
Yeah, just sit. That's it.
Not
No, you are. No, that takes. You have to go off.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll be moving that.
In a normal hearing, anyway there is a register, the court register here sitting in the
Yeah. So, but rather than
I know.
interrupt for this thing, he can stay here. So, if you need anything, we'll go.
See, all you change the background, neither. Background color.
Background color එක වෙනස් කරමුද පුළුවන්ද?
Which one?
It doesn't know. Yeah. Everything can change.
Completely change the background color.
Yes.
My video becomes unstable.
කෞශල් ඒ දැසි ඔබේ සේකන දෙයක්.
Sorry?
How come I went?
On his way there. We go courthouse.
Maybe for this one, give me a second. I'll just.
You take a look.
Yeah. How shall I? Yes.
That's a
Okay. No. We better not.
mute එකකින් ඉන්නේ මෙතන ඉන්නේ.
Video telling.
ඒක ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ. No, it's not mute.
If you change the background,
Yeah.
it upsets the video sometimes. But now how shall I disappear?
Option disappear.
Completely. So this no one can recognize.
Okay.
We'll go this. See the video gets very.
මේකත් පේන්නේ නැහැ නේ.
ඒ මොකුත් පේන්නේ නැහැ. මේක අපතියක් වැඩි කරමුද මේක නැති වෙන්නේ.
ඔව් නේද?
Yeah. Duli, can you get this also closer so that you don't see this also so they don't know.
Yeah, then.
Yeah. Oh no, but then you can see the.
අපිට ලං කරලා ඉස්සරහ කරලා.
කැමරා එක තව ලක් කරලා
Yeah, that's not as
Sorry.
clear. That's clear anymore. Yeah.
Wait.
So who will be the two judges?
Me and Suran.
Right. Okay.
Stop it off. Distance.
because has to
Not,
receive.
not the laptop. Yeah.
The mic also has to receive.
No, I can.
කරන හරිය ඉස්සරහට පොඩ්ඩක්.
Then we can. Yeah. Now put a zoom කර. Kamera එක පොඩ්ඩක් උස්සන්න. චුට්ටක්. අපන්න.
Or you can zoom though, no?
Yeah. Now පොඩ්ඩක් කරන්න. You can get it to this ridge line. Now pොඩ්ඩක් පස්සට now little. Right.
That's okay. We let it be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is fine, so they can't. No one
Okay.
can see
So
that.
what time can they log in now? Now they can see now itself, no?
They can actually. The stream is on.
So they can see this preparation.
No, if they have logged in.
Right.
So now we can get them login at.
So I sent a message saying that.
Login at.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So I said.
I didn't.
කියලා දාන්න.
I got it. I got it. Thanks, Bobby.
It's very. It's fine tuning. It's fine.
Quanto mate hoje russo?
Naveen, in our discussion, do we act as if we are referring to you as your lordship, or we do say Naveen?
No, don't refer to any of us as judges. Just use first names. I don't want anyone to say. Then we are not playing the. We are just. We'll be very informal, and as if we are doing a presentation to court. So we'll keep it low key that way. Then there is no issue because as is basically it's and I will mention when I start that we are doing this with the permission of His Lordship the Chief Justice and His Lordship the President of the Court of Appeal.
Yeah.
Yes, just carry on. Hello. Yes, tell me. You didn't get the link. It was sent to your email. I'll send it to you again. Okay. I'll send it to your email again. Okay. Right. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
One thing we'll also tell that is you have to be very mindful, like that you're on camera. People forget and we'll discuss that also amongst ourselves that these are the issues that come up. That outside noise, that you're on camera because now even you all are talking, we can hear, and so we are talking, you can hear. So that we'll raise that issue also.
Very sensitive mics, no? Very sensitive. Spam or junk folder, no?
Yes, spam or junk folder. Do the like okay. So how it's done? So how it's done?
Next stage will be to train my sound. How are you?
Not Sam, they can.
I'll take the dust and just go to my chamber.
Yes, and you watch it.
They can watch. I can watch on my computer. But I'm just completely.
But I'm sure there are weekdays. They are understand. They should be able to.
That's it.
Yeah.
Open the link and
Link and give the time.
Wi-Fi connection. It's already there. All the things are there.
But these are
Not
connected.
on that one.
That's better. I have my own computer, but I don't have the Wi-Fi.
Yes. So this is all there.
Everything.
I think if you are no, yeah, they will the voice because of no, yes. 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 No, we'll discuss that on this. We'll raise those issues. Now, let's say, now, for example, now if you want to talk, now if you want to talk amongst yourself, now they can hear. Kaushalya can hear us. Kaushalya.
Okay, can hear. Senake, you're mute.
I think then muted. I deliberately muted myself. I am going to mute myself again.
Okay. Please mute us also. Thank you.
Okay. Vishwakarth, can you get two normal chairs? Take these two chairs that you all are using and put normal chairs from there. Ami. Then it says for everybody. All right.
All fixed.
You have to replace your chair, Senake.
I know, ma'am. Finding.
There's another chair here. There's a normal chair here, stenographer chair.
These are also the same, sir. No point putting those. Same. This, there's a chair. Come on, pen and again later.
We have one here, we'll send it.
Very young.
Makes, I'm sure I will look even. Oh, honestly, this chair arrangement is not good. Not good. I just ran like.
Oh, again. Would IT officers come to check up on us?
Yes.
हरियाणा नहीं मैनेज करना पूरा ये ना
I have muted it.
Yeah, for the full spectrum of the.
Yeah, I am muted. Can you hear me now?
Can hear.
Yes. Right. Okay. No, everyone is 1 second. We'll do a voice check. Hold on. Dulith, can you hear us in 301? Yeah, there's a lag. Kaushal, say something.
Can hear you.
I can hear you. I can.
Say, can
Hear.
all good, Dulith. Okay, thank you.
So will we have them in the waiting room or are they going to be?
No, put them in the waiting room. No,
Yeah.
off their video for the moment.
For the
That's the
moment,
easiest.
yeah.
Simplest thing is switch the video off and on it again. You have control.
From there.
From there. Yeah. So when you start, only he will appear. Then he will say, I'm now inviting them. එතකොට අනිත් parties ටික දාන්න judges ලාගේ එක එතකොට chairs එක විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ ආ කියන දේ කිව්වෙන් පස්සේ අපි ඇවිල්ලා ඉඳ ගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ discussion එක පටන් ගන්න.
Oh, mom may have
මේ
camera use කරනවා.
But you figure a signal.
Yeah, I'll sit in there.
So,
Right.
Then you give a signal, then he'll activate Kaushalya, activate this and this camera. Then we will come and we'll play it by ear.
This camera will be on, sir.
Yeah, this camera is on. Yeah. Fine.
I'll give you indication in your
right.
Oh.
Maybe what ministry will have to procure for each board that is doing this, a giving license, TV and a sound. And they will say,
All right.
Yeah.
the laptop or something.
Yeah, he told us.
That he million bucks.
Can you hear me?
Per board.
Yes.
It already less and the
Okay. No, just want to check.
boards that get
They will stop hearings. Then they will come.
Video
Yes.
off कर देना।
then what
We are switching off your videos for now.
Altogether, how much is the screen? How much is the
ඒගොල්ලොම on කරන්න වෙන්නේ?
sound wise about
ඒගොල්ලෝ on කරන්න ඕනේ. හරි. I'll say at one point I'll be sorry. At one point I'll say that we will wait for the respective parties to join the hearing. At that point, switch on your videos. Okay. Just tell the person there to switch it on. Or if you have the remote. Yeah. Thanks.
මෙයා කියනවානේ joining the තනුජ
So then you can use
302 no, what I said was I will at one point I'll say we will wait for the respective parties to join the meeting, join the hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. When I say that, you can switch on the video. I think we'll put a message here also to switch on the video. Yeah, we'll send a request to switch on the video also. But when I say that we will wait for the respective parties to join the hearing, you can switch on the video.
Nice. Ready?
Yes.
So we stay away. No? We stay away. Anuja.
Yes, sir.
5 to 2 around.
5 to 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, start on time.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah, already.
Online.
Hold on.
Senaka, okay, everyone be on their stations. We are like at 2 sharp. Tanuja will start. Huh? Namik is online.
Yes, we told all of them to start video.
Okay. But how are they going to? Is he going to activate the video?
They will have to activate it. So
Who's
he is going to. So I've told them the queue.
Right.
The queue is we will wait for the parties to join the meeting.
Right.
And he will also send a request for them to switch it on.
Switch it on. Fine.
So
we
Right now, up to this point, there were no connection. Yeah, I know. That's right.
Education department and no. That recommendation was to the ministry and it was okay. That thing you
Good afternoon. Welcome to the demonstration meeting organized by the Digitization Subcommittee of the Ministry of Justice. My name is Tanuja Meghawatta, and I will act as the Court IT officer for the day. The Court IT officer is a specially trained member of the court staff that has an important role to play in a digital hearing. I will elaborate on this shortly. Today's demonstration will focus on the technology involved in holding a criminal appeal digitally. Accordingly, this hearing will have 3 parties joining in remotely. The State Counsel and the Counsel for the accused appellant will join from their respective location. Mr. Senaka Deseram and Mrs. Kaushalya Molligoda will play these roles for the day. At the same time, the appellant himself will view this session from within the prison. Mr. Namik Nafat will play this role today. Mr. Naveen Markana, President's Counsel, and Mr. Ruanta Kure will play the judges and will be seated behind me 1 meter apart. The public will be able to access this hearing from a separate live stream, and your lordships are joining in from this system. According to our guidelines, the parties are required to log in and be ready in the waiting room at least 15 minutes before the scheduled time of the hearing. This allows the parties to check their connection and for the court IT officer to make necessary announcements. Unlike in a typical courtroom setting, in order to ensure that the correct parties are logged into the correct session, the court IT officer must announce the case number and check with the respective counsels before the judges arrive. The court officer has to also make an appropriate warning against making unlawful digital copies of the hearing. I will demonstrate this in due course. Now, we will wait for the respective parties to join the hearing. Good afternoon. Case number BAL 2020 of 2020 will be taken up at 2:15 p.m. If there's any party here for any other case or for any other matter, please log out. Thank you. Okay, may I know who appears for the appellant?
I appear for the accused appellant.
Yes, thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the room other than you? May I know who appears, who is in the room at the moment?
Mr. Vishwaka Piris, attorney at law, is sitting in the capacity of my junior for the purpose of this demonstration.
Okay, thank you very much. May I know who appears for the respondent?
I appear for the respondent.
Is there anyone there, sir, other than you in that room?
I'll be conducting the argument by myself. And there's nobody else in that room.
Thank you very much. Could the appellant confirm if the stream is clear, if you can hear us? And if you can hear us, could you raise your hand? Okay, thank you very much. Before we begin, there are a few announcements which I have to make according to the guidelines. Please maintain the decorum of the courtroom once the judges arrive. When the judges arrive, please stand and bow. Parties must keep their videos switched on at all times. Unless some party is making a submission, please keep your microphones muted. If you have any, if you need to bring the attention of court to anything, please physically raise your hand. If there's any problem with your connection or if you accidentally log out, please contact the court immediately through the mobile number that we've already provided. Also note that recording, copying, photographing, publishing, or disseminating any part of this hearing in audio, video, digital, or any other form whatsoever is strictly prohibited. Any party that is found to have committed such an act may potentially be in contempt of court. Are all parties in agreement? Is it understood?
Yes.
We are familiar with the rules.
Thank you very much. At this point, I will move out and admit the judges into the hearing. At this point, I will make an announcement that the court is now in session, and case number BAL 2020 of 2020 will be taken up.
Hello and welcome everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Welcome to this demonstration we are doing. Just to introduce ourselves, myself and Dulith, I'm Navin Marapana, this is Dulith Kure. I'm sure all of you know us. We are the chairman and convener respectively of the digitization and court automation subcommittee of the Ministry of Justice. The person's counsels acting as the appellant's counsel are Ms. Kaushalya Molligoda and Mr. Vishwaka Piris, who are also members of my committee. Mr. Senaka Diseram is also a member of my committee. So is Mr. Namik Mafat, who is playing the role of the accused appellant today. We are doing this hearing with the permission of His Lordship the Chief Justice and His Lordship the Honorable President of the Court of Appeal, just to show their lordships and ladyships of the Court of Appeal, and later on other judges also, the potential technologies that are used when digital hearings are being done. Now, we are using a very basic setup for this hearing, and Dulith will elaborate further. We are using for the judges, so to speak, we are using a 55-inch screen and a camera and 2 speakers in what is called a sound bar. So the court will have a 55-inch screen in front of the judges, the sound bar located on top of it, and the camera generally will encompass both judges, even if they are sitting a meter apart. And the court IT officer will have a notebook computer running the software that is being used to conduct the hearing. Now, for this particular hearing, we are using Zoom, which of all the apps available, which we have tested amongst ourselves, is the most reliable and most functionally easier. So it is easy to train someone on it very fast. So, Dulith, will you take it from there and just explain what kind of hearings we can do and what's the potential of this?
As Navin rightly said, so we will be using Zoom platform, but we are of course not restricted to using a Zoom platform alone. There are other available platforms also which is being used widely in other jurisdictions, but we chose Zoom being the most functionally user-friendly platform for this purpose. The hearing per se, just to give a broader outline, today's setup is done to replicate an actual virtual hearing. Now, the 2 counsels representing the appellant as well as the respondent are remotely connected from 2 distinctly different locations, and the appellant is virtually, the accused appellant is virtually present in an ordinary setup. We are assuming that the accused appellant will be connecting, if at all, from the relevant prison where the person is located at that juncture. And for the purpose of prior to the purpose of the hearing, I believe we also want to just give an idea as to what would be like in the event in the normal course of the day when it comes to the mention matters are being taken. So Naveen, I believe that's
Yeah, the initial suggestion and the request that came from His Lordship Justice Obesekar, Arjun Obesekar, the Honorable President of the Court of Appeal, was that criminal appeals where the liberty of the subject is at, is hanging in the balance, are getting postponed because the accused can't be brought to court. So this is a typical scenario where a pre-arranged criminal appeal is being heard. So the two counsel, the prosecution and the appellant are present. The accused can see what is going on. The accused will be muted, so he can't interrupt or talk in the process. The counsel also, the rules should, the rules are being evolved as we speak. Rules should ensure that one party talks, and if the other party wants to interject or say something, they should physically raise their hand, and the lordships who are hearing the case will give them a hearing. Now, the judges who are hearing the case, honorable judges, will have a very simple remote like this. So, for example, if they wish to confer amongst themselves, they can simply press a button. Which will be I've now turned the mute off. So one of the crucial things that have come up in these kind of hearings is that people forget that they are online and it is being streamed. So we have given the constitutional provision that called for a public hearing. This hearing, apart from the parties who are locked in this particular hearing, it is being beamed to a YouTube channel where, in theory, the general public can access and watch. So the other lordships, honorable judges, are actually looking at that feed where they can't take part in it, but they can listen and hear. So the constitutional responsibilities are also met. Now, Senaka, what are the issues that you see from a counsel's point of view in doing a hearing like this?
Yes, now Naveen, as we discussed at the committee stage, there were situations where we need to be brief as well as counsel. There is a tremendous responsibility on the counsel to make sure the sacrosanct of the courthouse is maintained. Because like I am remotely accessing the judges from here now, I am doing it most probably in a chamber, in most probably my own chamber. From a lawyer's point of view, I must make sure that I am not recording it. I am not going to use it to market myself. These are new challenges that are coming up in our profession that the Supreme Court rules does not deal with. So those aspects are there. Further, when dealing with this, people have called us as a committee and said that if you take Naveen Marapana's chamber, that he'd like to show the chamber, but I don't have a chamber like Naveen Marapana. So what do we do? So there are situations like that. Little intricacies also are there. We have set up a set of rules after the committee got together, and we have submitted it to the Supreme Court, and we intend to improve on it. And also there is what we have proposed is we have an index of the case file. We have a summary where for example, now if you take this hearing today, Kaushalya will start first, and her summary will be given to me as state counsel beforehand. My summary will be given to her beforehand. So I will know in what pages she will be referring to in the brief. Your lordships and ladyships also will know what pages Kaushalya will be referring to you beforehand, so that we don't need to waste time. And I will know what to respond, Kaushalya will know what to respond, what documents we are going to respond. So the procedure of articulating arguments will also be thereafter set out. In the summary, we intend to set out what case law we are going to rely upon and the relevant pages. So we did not go on the elaborate version where hours and hours are being harped upon. As we ourselves noticed with Zoom, sometimes our discussions that went on for hours are much shorter. I think we might be able to benefit from all this.
Kaushal, another issue that will come up is if you're trying to replicate the look and feel and the respect of being in a physical courthouse. I mean, the institution of a courthouse is engraved in our culture that, so by going digital, we can't remove the aura and the fear and the respect the physical courthouse gives. Now, one issue is you all are seated and addressing a potential court. Is it practical to do that? Now, other jurisdictions do the submission seated, but is it practical to do it standing up? Now, Senaka, for example, what do you think, Kaushala? If someone like Senaka stands up, will he be on the visible?
So
So I can show that to you now. If I stand up, I'm out of the screen.
Right.
None of us can be seen.
So I'm not half as tall as him, but I don't think that's practical. Because most of us.
So that's another thing that lordship. That's another thing that the lordships have to, understand and maybe accept as a reality in the digital age, that people will not be standing when they address them in court, but that should not be taken as a lack of respect, but something that is forced out of necessity. So, which is why we discussed, and the registrar will ask the parties to stand when the honorable judges come and bow to court. And if the honorable judges at any time stand and leave and parties are online, I think they should be asked to stand as soon as the judges get up and then bow to court.
Irrespective of the fact that where they fall within the screen or not. I think practicality concern, if you are connecting from a laptop or through a laptop, there can be a scenario where either the webcam which you will be using might be on the top of the screen or in the bottom. Now, for an example, the laptop that I am having right now, it has a screen, it has the webcam which is placed to the bottom of the screen. So you may not get the full spectrum of the resolution in the event you stand. So irrespective of you falling within that frame, as Naveen suggested, that is important that at the point of the judges departing or taking, even for a purpose of recess, that the lawyers stand and like in a normal hearing, that they respect the judges, the normal decorum that is being maintained.
Then there is another issue that we need to address. That is, what if the signal drops? Now, all of these technologies, the technology actually is very simple. Zoom is simple. Even the infrastructure needed is not very complex. But the biggest factor that we cannot control is the quality of the internet signal. Now, what would happen? Now, let's say I'm judge and I'm talking, and we can't hear one counsel. What is the solution, Senaka? What do you think, or Ruanta, what do you think is the solution to that?
So in the event that one of the counsels cannot be heard, I believe one of the biggest issues would be, now for an example, there are two ways one can use connectivity for purpose of getting onto a virtual hearing. Now, one is using mobile connectivity. Mobile connectivity in a normal circumstances, one would assume that as long as you are connecting from a location where there is 4G connection, where there will be you will be having a seamless connectivity. Now, for an example, if you use fiber optic, which is much faster, but it will be provided on a LAN, a local area network, there may be practical issues like in the event of a power outage. And if there's an immediate power outage and it comes back, the routers do tend to switch off and get connected back again. Now, as Tanuja, the court registrar for the purpose of today's hearing, informed, so in the event of a disconnection, necessarily what will have to take place is it will be visible that you won't be connecting for the purpose of the hearing, and which point I believe what will have to happen is practically that hearing will have to pause at that juncture until the court registrar will be sitting for that particular day, reconnects the party. One of the issues that we will have to deal with is in the event that even upon it connecting, as Naveen suggested, what if there is no proper connection at all? So in that event, there will be some practical concerns that will be met with, whether they can continue and conclude the hearing at all on that particular day, or whether there will be a necessity of going for an adjournment and then reconnecting on a particular other given time.
Now, I believe Zoom has another feature which not many people use. You can actually call a landline number. So if you actually don't have internet connectivity as an emergency, you can be given a number. So although that party will not be visible, that party can still be heard. So the issue is this, we have all as lawyers and judges and all the stakeholders, we have to come to terms with the fact that right now this is being forced upon us. So there has to be a large scale, very mutual, respectful collaboration between the bench and the bar to make it work. And I think speaking from the side of the lawyers, I think we have to ensure that amongst ourselves, that nowhere is the judicial process that we are culturally used to interfered with in any way or made to feel small. Because that will have a huge backlash and this won't get off the ground. So I think, Senanayake, you're in the Bar Association Committee also on digitization. I think the bar has to get together and own this as part of a bar effort as well to ensure that there is no, recently there was issues where you can take screenshots and these have happened around the world. Somebody, as Senanayake said, to market themselves, may take a screenshot of a hearing and say, look here, everybody, I'm the person who did the first ever bail hearing. But that kind of thing, if the lawyers go to do that, this is not going to take off. So we have to educate the lawyers more than anybody else that this is a very serious thing and it is no way less serious than a court hearing. So I think we have to work with the bar as well to get this off the ground.
I think, Senanayake, what we probably can do is on a zonal bar level, if the bar association, each association can encourage at least one remote access point for these lawyers. All it takes for each particular bar to have two laptops and a connectivity point for these hearings to take place. Now that is to, of course, to facilitate lawyers who are in remote areas. We all know that throughout Sri Lanka there is no 4G connection. There are places where still there's 3G and 2G connection. So if the bar takes ownership of this, and if they make an effort at least at each zonal bar level or at least individual bars to have a connectivity point, a remote point for these lawyers to come and connect for these physical hearings. So irrespective of whether it be Court of Appeal, Supreme Court or any other court, as long as the connectivity pieces are available in those biases, respective biasation officers, then they can be lawyers from whichever the area and connect on a seamless hearing and conduct and conclude this hearing.
Because that's another issue, because criminal appeals come to the Court of Appeal from all over the country. Just to share an anecdote, a professor at a university was telling me that the Colombo University had planned to do the convocation this year digitally. And so they had a student faculty council meeting, and one student had been very actually disrespectful, and he had joined this Zoom hearing online from Upper Tree in Mimure. He's from Mimure, and he has been literally Upper Tree because that's the only place that he has signal. And he had asked the council, do you expect me to attend my convocation from the top of a tree? So, we have to be mindful of the fact that a lot of lawyers also may not have internet. So the issue, whilst you're trying to solve a problem, I wanted to use this opportunity to raise the issues that we will have, because the judges and the lawyers have to address it openly. One issue is where the judges will have a good internet connection. One party will have, let's say in Colombo, will have a good internet connection, but what if the appellant's counsel has a bad connection? Does it mean that his case will get pushed down and other cases be given priority? Now, their lordships have to address these issues and come up with a solution. But from the point of view of the digitization committee, we are working on projects to make most of these things work seamlessly. And over the next 3 years, there will be huge transformation. But during this COVID period, I think we have to work on the basis that we have to make do with what we have. And also somehow have worked with a lot of understanding, and we have to ask their lordships and ladyships also to be very patient with doing a hearing remotely, because it is very easy to forget that you're on your live, because you don't see anybody there, even for a judge. For example, if a judge were to connect from home, sometimes you forget, sometimes you get interrupted by somebody at home, or there will be children in the background. lawyers will have that same problem. If this COVID crisis gets worse and we have to do this from home, so say the lordships and ladyships also, there may be pets, there may be children running around, and it may cause embarrassment. So everybody has to be mindful of that, and I think has to be very understanding, because everyone here is trying to make this work. So, but forgetting that you're online, or even when we were setting up this hearing, we were talking amongst ourselves, and sometimes there were judges in the room and people on the other side were talking, and I had to send a text saying, watch what you're saying, there are judges listening to this. So, those are the things that will come up. But I think if we all work together, I mean, my committee is there on hand. I mean, we are passionate about this, and we are, Senaka, Kaushalini, there are several others who are not here. We will do whatever we can at any time to progress and find a solution. And all we are asking is, that we get the understanding and the sympathy of their lordships and ladyships also. So unless there are any other questions or anything you need to raise, mention matters, just.
I think Naveen, you can stress on how we were thinking of the mention matters that we discussed.
Also, what you raised,
you had a concern.
Oh, one thing that struck me was now the focus of this particular demonstration being a criminal appeal. There are occasions where, while the matter is going on, the judges or the suggestion comes from the bench or from the council themselves as to whether there can be a settlement. And sometimes it's not worth our while to postpone the matter entirely for another day. We can quickly get instructions from our client and maybe inform court, and we can finish the matter off on that day. If that were to be facilitated in a digital hearing, we will need the counsel to connect with his or her client who is also joining in remotely, without the other side counsel and the other parties to the meeting or the hearing being privy to what is being discussed. So that is a little area that might, if we look into that might be helpful.
Well, I mean, I think what you can do is simply what you can do is from the end that you are connecting, all it takes is for you to to press the mute button,
turn off the video,
and if at all turn off the video. So let's assume for a moment that now we have placed a rule to say that not to turn off the video. I mean, as long as you mute and go out of the frame and have the discussion with the client, I believe that objective can be achieved.
Kaushala, now that's a technology issue. Now, if you use Microsoft Teams, which is another similar platform, it has a facility for things called breakout rooms. So while the hearing is on, two parties can break out from it and have a separate hearing privately while this is on. Now, Zoom doesn't allow that. So when we go for a more permanent solution, maybe you can explore and push the technological boundary, but the simplest thing to do is to get the permission of court and to mute the feed and to step outside and make a phone call. Because I don't think it is prudent or it is proper etiquette for counsel to be on the phone in front of judges. I mean, we must make it as realistic as possible, because as I said, I read that several times, you can't make it any less respectful. Otherwise, this won't work. So those also, I think their lordships can, I mean, we are raising the issues here. We will discuss that and fine tune it as we go. Now, the other issue that is there is, now this can work perfectly for hearings where the briefs have been prepared. All the paginated briefs are there, so that when you say please turn to page 364, everyone has that page. But the technology such Zoom and whatever, you can also share your screen. So if you want to show a particular document, let's say there's a photograph, the accused appellant has got a medical condition which is not in the brief, you can scan it and press share screen, and with the permission of court, you can share what is on your screen, so everyone can see it. But once again, we have to be very, very careful, because people have a lot of personal, private things on their computers. So when you go to share screens, you have to make sure that you are sharing the document that is needed to be shared, not your holiday photographs or something else, which will, it has happened before. Now, the other issue is, how do we deal with mention matters? Now, in the Court of Appeal or in any given court, there are about 30-40 cases a day that comes up. Now, one way to do this is, Ruan, to correct me if I'm wrong, is to break the mentioned matters into groups of 10 or 5, where all the counsel instructing attorneys in those 5 cases are sent an invite. So you have one session from 10 to 10:15, and 10 cases are going to be taken up. So when the judges come on screen, there will be 20 sets of lawyers or more in the waiting room. So when the court register gets up and calls a particular case, the 2 relevant people is put their hands up and say, we are the people in this court, this case, and all the others will go on mute. But they can watch. It is similar to what happens normally. I mean, all the counsel are in a physical courthouse, and when their particular case is called, they will get up. So it is actually possible to do mention cases as well. And one very pertinent question Justice Obesekara raised with me just a short while ago was that now the ministry or whoever will have to invest in getting this equipment. What happens to the equipment when COVID ends? Now that is the equipment is not cheap, and it's a waste to let it idle. So one suggestion that our committee would like to pose to their lordships is to think about at least use it to do the mention matters after court hours. So say the junior judge of that particular court can take up all the mention matters in say 1 hour after court has adjourned from 3 to 4 o'clock or 2 to 3 o'clock or something, so that the morning hours, even if physical hearings are possible, are not wasted. I mean, I'm not saying mention cases are a waste of time, but the time is made more productively to have actual arguments and whatever case, and then the equipment is also used.
So I believe what one suggestion would be that now the Supreme Court immediately prior to the second wave of the COVID-19 commenced this system of having a pre-hearing just to ensure that on a particular day, a week prior to the case being taken up on a designated day, all the cases mentioned matters for the next week are taken up to ascertain compliance, and also to ensure that the cases that are going down for it to be refixed for hearing, and for the cases for which there have been counsels are ready, and for them to nominate their respective junior counsels for the hearing to take place. So that sort of thing probably, as Naveen suggested, that sort of thing can take place yet again using the infrastructure which will be set up in place to have these the virtual hearing. So it won't be necessarily a waste.
Exactly. And one other issue is now, for example, Namik is playing the role of the accused today. What if he wants to say something? The question will arise, should, at the end of the day, it's his case. Let's say, for example, his lawyer is going to agree to a commuted sentence, and he doesn't agree to it, and he wants to be. So if he raises his hand, the potential is always there for him to be able to address court. So, but the issue that might arise in something like this, especially if it is beamed to a larger audience, what if once he's unmuted, he abuses their lordships or he uses profanity? So that is an issue that has to be addressed, but that can happen even in an open court. But the difference is, in open court, there will be only the people who are in that court who are listening. If it is broadcast out, a much larger audience will exercise their constitutional right to a public hearing. So whilst it is possible and it should be allowed, their lordship will have to give thought to how to handle that, so that someone doesn't insult the judge or make use. If he is going to go to jail anyway, he says he wants to say something. What if he insults the judges, says something personal, and one of his supporters records it, and then, for example, if he's a politician, he uses that opportunity to grandstand and use it for his political agenda or some racist agenda. For example, if he's a terrorist who's being whose case. So we have to be very mindful of that, but that issue will come up, and thankfully we don't have to take the decision. That's for their lordships to decide and ladyships, but that possibility is there. So unless there is any other,
so I think one big positivity is now this what the virtual hearing this took place today. We had it without any breakages at all. So I mean, if this is doable, I mean, on any other day, actual case can be heard on a virtual platform of this sort. Of course, this is an ad hoc arrangement. A much permanent arrangement may give a more seamless hearing with all these other practical issues that we said are there, and we can probably overcome them at all.
And the issue, I mean, we must be thankful. Our committee has received nothing but support and encouragement from all the judges we have interacted with, and I would like to place our sincere thanks for that, because we are really not something personal to us. We are trying to do something that will benefit all of us. One thing we need to be mindful of the fact is that if this does not work the first few times, it will never get off the ground. So the people who do the court registry work, the person who sets up the hearing, who creates the meeting, who sends the invites, has to be very qualified and be able to troubleshoot the problems. So if this is going on line for next year, we have to make sure the people who supply the equipment and also our committee and other volunteers will make sure that the people who are doing the hearings, at least that initial hand holding in the first few weeks is done, so that this works. Because if it does not work, this will fail. However much we try, people will give up and say this is not working. So on that note, I think we'll conclude this demonstration. I would like to thank everybody involved, the Minister of Justice, their lordships of the Court of Appeal and their lordship of the Supreme Court, His Lordship the Honorable Chief Justice, and His Lordship Justice Arjun Obesekara, the Honorable President of the Court of Appeal, who's more enthusiastic than us about this. So I have to be very thankful to him, and to Madhushankar from the Ministry of Justice, who moved mountains to make sure this is done on the day prior to Christmas. It's not easy because all the companies that do these things, and also to the company Swedish Trading Audiovisual who set up everything. We'd like to thank all of them and their staff. And we take this opportunity to wish all of you Merry Christmas, very, very prosperous New Year. And we hope that this Corona menace is something at least not as much as it's forced upon us, but have a very good Christmas and a very happy New Year. Thank you very much. So for the purpose of record, we'll act the scenario where the judges leave, where the lawyers are, so that once we get up, the lawyers also will get up and bow, and the proceedings will end. Thank you so much.